Hey Archons, what's going on? Welcome to another Boulevard Paper Fight video. Today I'm going to do something a little bit different that I have not done before. There was once upon a time a thing going around called the One Deck Challenge. This is going to feel like that, but it is completely different because I've chosen a deck here, and it's not the only deck I'm going to play for a while, but I'm going to actually document me playing this deck through a series of videos. And this first inaugural one here is to actually just go over the deck and talk about some things that I like about it, as well as look into some of the, dive into some of the analytics of the deck, and also some things that I think may cause trouble for it over time. But I really like this deck. It is a deck that I have had for quite some time, and I opened it. So it is actually the only deck I own, and the only deck that I opened that contains Proclamation 346E. So this is my Proclamation deck, but it is more than that. There's a lot of things that I like about this. It has Logos, Sanctum, and Untamed, and the deck is called Aeralinde of Mergopolis. So why do I like this deck? Well, first off, in Logos, it has Binite Rupture and Interdimensional Graft. Always happy to see that. Then it also has some tools in here. So it has Cutthroat Research, which kind of helps with the Binite Rupture side of things, potentially, if you don't get the combo. It also has Helper Bot, and I like Binite Rupture with Helper Bot because then you can swing over to Untamed and play yourself a Key Charge or a Chota. So it has a way of making that happen, as well as having in here a Glimmer, so you have some recursion for some combo pieces. So that's why I really like this logo side. The Helper Bot adds the versatility. You got some archiving. I like Pip Pip because what Pip Pip does is add that nuisance. If you go against the Worlds Collide meta, you're having they reap, it gets stunned. So it's just something they have to swing into beforehand. And there is some taunt in here and ways to beef up creatures, which can make that just troublesome, let's say. Got pokes, which are fantastic now that a thing called warding exists, so you can use these to pop the wards or to use the effect of getting to destroy a creature and draw a card, whatever you need it for. Obviously, Titan Librarian, amazing card from Logos because it gives you that ability to archive. Again, Jargoggle, I love this card because you can make it a bait card or you can make it a card that is going to just help you cycle and archive as well. Like there's so many utilities for Jargoggle. One of my favorite cards, I've finally named this one Jar Jar Binks. So there's that. And then we have Chaos Portal. It says choose a house, reveal the top card of your deck. If it is of that house, play it. So I just like this card. I think it can add value. You're going to be revealing the top card of your deck. So keep that in mind if you are coming to some combo pieces or something you want to catch people off guard. If you reveal it, they know what it is. So just know that. But this also comes in handy if you get yourself in a position. Let's say you Binite Rupture for some reason and you haven't gotten your Key Charge or your Chota. This could give you a way to actually just call that house and do it. It's kind of a Hail Mary card in a lot of situations as well, because you can just know what you need and then call that house in Logos and hope you get one of those cards. Transportation Sandals, again, very helpful to just kind of, well, swap your creatures around potentially. And the reason why that will be handy is because things like Lion Boutrum exist. You also have Chell the Safeguard. Things you may want to have that protection, so to speak. So in this Sanctum side of things now, what I really like is Boutrum. Again, it gets to beef up some of the creatures that I need to stick around. A Bod could be one of them, or even a Bond, either or. This is great because it's, again, adding a little bit more nuisance to your creatures, making them have extra armor, which is a pain to deal with. Again, I can just deploy the Taunt. Healing Blast can be quite helpful because they're you can use it against your own creatures or your opponents just for that Ember Burst, which is really helpful. Then you have Take Hostages, some Ember Control, obviously. When you fight creature, this deck isn't a heavy fight deck, but it can come in handy. Then you always have Logos Ambassador, just to help you use some of those Logos cards on Sanctum. I mean, you could go Helper Bot into something. Like, there's just, ways you can do some shenanigans here. Harder They Come. Purge a creature with power 5 or higher. This card, I think, has really gone up in value within the Worlds Collide meta because you have a lot of big dinos and things like that that can capture a lot of Ember and be a nuisance to deal with. If a Ludo's out, there's no way that's going back to the common supply. You're just going to purge the creature. It does not trigger the destroyed effects, and this comes into play. Next up is Begone. So I think we're going to see this card have a lot of value moving forward because Dis is getting some potent things added to its arsenal in this next set coming out. So this is going to be really great. And then of course we have Opal Knight, destroy each creature with even power. That pretty much hits up a Senator Strix very nicely. Also hits a bunch of other creatures in Star Alliance that you may want to take off the board. Not as much as you would like. A lot of the ones that fall into the must kill category are actually odd power, but there is a lot of things that are even power in Worlds Collide and throughout the game that are going to be great for this. Unfortunately, it does have some casualties in this set, so keep that in mind. Now here we have Proclamation 346E. This card is basically the cornerstone of the deck. It's really helpful and handy. Like if someone has artifact removal, I'm worried with this deck because if I can get this out turn 1, it really allows me to apply pressure and it makes my opponent have to maybe go between houses or have to forge inefficiently, which could really help my game. Now onto the Untamed side of things, it has a Fang House. Just a great card to go assault. Assault, get rid of a ward and hit in. It's just a good creature. Has a hazardous as well. And of course there's Glimmer, some recursion. Again, Grovekeeper, making those things I want to stick around and become harder to deal with become that way. Key Charge, nothing wrong with key cheats. And then triple Nox just to create those beefy creatures on the board that your opponent has to deal with. I like it because it's going to be helpful. Just having some bodies you can fight into is very good. I like Tintadilin quite a bit because of the fact that you can deal with your opponent's archives. You go against an Edai deck or any of the multitude of archiving that exists within the game right now. You can use this card as an extra way to just get in there, deal some damage to something. If it's something small, you can kill it. If not, you're going to get to get rid of one of those archive cards. That may be lowering a key. That may be just getting rid of the archives in general. So think about that, and if your opponent does not play around this card, because I feel like it's kind of easily forgettable, you can use that to your advantage. I do like the fact that if it is an Edai, you just swing into your Edai, into your opponent's Edai, and then you're putting 2 damage on it, plus getting rid of one of the things that makes it powerful. Seems pretty good to me. Again, Chota, another key cheat at your disposal, always handy. Flaxia, if you can get it out and get that burst, fantastic. Lifeweb, I feel has a little bit of Breath of Life in the Worlds Collide era, because you do see a lot of creatures can come out, and in general the game seems to be moving towards creature heavier scenarios, so that could go off, but I mean, this is not something you're going to hold your breath for. And then Way of the Porcupine, this creature gains hazardous 3. So again, Pip Pip, this is a great thing to throw on Pip Pip, that nuisance, having to deal with it, or another bigger creature that you want to stick around. This is just a versatile card that has an Ember Pip. So that goes over why I like this deck. There's just a lot of things in it that's really interesting, and I think it interacts in a cool way. There, you've probably noticed there is some gaping holes in the Ember control side of things. It is almost exclusively in Sanctum, so that's one thing you have to be cautious of and play the game accordingly. So let's take a look at some of the stats and see where they line up with this deck. Alright, so here is the deck, and I will go over now some of the numbers that exist within this deck. So you can see that it did not change its SAS between the last update. It does not have a crazy SAS, which when I look at the cards that are in this and the things that can be done, I feel like this may be not the best representation of the way SAS can calculate things, because it does have some really interesting things here. Well, it has 19 creatures, 13 actions, 2 artifacts, 2 upgrades, 2 key cheats, and 3 ways to archive. Has a really good speed. Its board is not crazy. That's not a huge board presence. Its Ember, expected Ember is nothing to laugh at. The Ember control, though, is, as you can see here, most of it, like more than half of it, is just coming off Obad and Proclamation. And then everything else is kind of strewn throughout. So the good thing is that if the proc sticks, it is a consistent form of Ember control throughout the game. Now, the other weakness this deck has, as you can see, is the creature control. There is not a lot. So you're going to be relying on fighting. Thank goodness you have things like the Nox that can be a 9-power creature, and you have Grove Creepers to boost those. And so those are going to come into handy, same with Fang House. And also you're going to need things like probably some of your bigger dudes in the fact that Boutrum is going to create those to be bigger, but you may use Boutrum as a protection creature, so it depends on how you go about this. There's also, I mean, you're not going to really want to fight with a lot of the Sanctum guys. they're mainly these three knocks are going to be your kind of haymakers. So I want to see how this deck goes, and I'm going to log it. The things that I find that are successful with it, am I getting out the combo pieces, and the things that it's really falling towards and just getting run over by. So this is kind of the intro to this whole experiment of taking a deck and looking at it and deciding, you know what, I really want to play this deck. I've had it in my collection for a long time and I haven't given it the time of day, and it has things that I like. For me, this is a Brig Proclamation deck. That's how I look at it. And I've always wanted to take this deck out and play it, and I haven't done it. So I thought, let's do it and document the process. I've played it, I think, twice before doing this, once in this past week, and I can't remember the last time I played it, but within the last year. So this is going to be a journey with Aeralinde of Mergopolis. So hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you look forward to the upcoming videos. There will be gameplay on it, as well as a follow-up post-game analysis, which I have not done before. So thanks for tuning into this. Please do like and subscribe. And as always, may your amber never be stolen and your keys forged promptly. Have a good one.